What is the deal with glutathione for skin whitening? Does it actually do anything, or is it just a big hoax? That's what we're going to get into in today's video. What the heck is glutathione? Well, it is a peptide naturally produced by the cells in your body, and it functions as an antioxidant. It helps fight against reactive oxygen species, which otherwise damage DNA, RNA, proteins, lipids in cells throughout your body, lead to cell death, as well as premature aging, and contribute to inflammation throughout the body that can aggravate and be a part of many disease processes. Glutathione also inhibits melanogenesis, aka pigment production. So of course it is of interest for dark spots, hyperpigmentation, melasma, and just general skin lightening. Glutathione can be delivered topically, meaning something that you apply to the skin. It can be taken orally, but one very popular way of administering glutathione is an IV drip. You will come across med spas all over the world who tout all of these claims about the benefits of IV drips containing glutathione for skin and overall health. While our body naturally makes glutathione, production of glutathione does decline with age, so there is some thought that perhaps in older adults with certain underlying health problems that perhaps glutathione supplementation may have some sort of protective role, although more research is needed. Lower levels of glutathione in the body are also associated with a variety of states of poor health. But what about in terms of skin? So there are two trials looking at oral glutathione for the skin. They both use 500 milligrams a day of glutathione. One of them is a supplement that you ingest. The other one is a lozenge that you dissolve in the mouth. The absorption of glutathione from the gut to get to an appreciable level throughout the body is very challenging. By allowing it to absorb in your mouth, in the mucosa in your mouth, you get better levels. So the one looking at the pill that you ingest, 500 milligrams a day, this was a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial of 500 milligrams a day of glutathione versus placebo. And after 4 weeks, there was a statistically significant reduction in the melanin indices in those using the glutathione supplement, taking the glutathione supplement, versus those doing the placebo. There's also an open label study looking at 500 milligrams a day of glutathione lozenges. This particular study looked at 30 healthy Filipino women ranging in age from 22 to 42 with Fitzpatrick phototypes 4 and 5. And this study likewise showed a statistically significant reduction in melanin indices compared to placebo. These are small studies, they have limitations, and again, they're not using the same form. So in other words, more research is needed. But what about the IV glutathione? Like I said, it's difficult to get glutathione to absorb in the digestive tract to lead to appreciable increases in body glutathione. So what about administering it through an IV, as is popularized among all of these, sort of med spas? We only have one study looking at this. It looked at 50 healthy Pakistani women, was open label, placebo controlled, 1200 milligram injection versus normal saline. They were getting these injections twice a week for 8 weeks. Instead of melanin indices, this particular study looked at something called the Taylor scale, which honestly is a lot more subjective. The group getting IV glutathione showed 37.5% improvement in their Taylor scale, which was significantly greater than those getting just normal saline. However, they continued to reassess this, and after about 6 months, that had dropped to 6.2%. So it doesn't really suggest that it leads to any sort of sustained benefit. Importantly, in this study, there were some serious adverse side effects that happened to some people, namely problems with their liver. Some people had elevation in their liver enzymes, which is not good. One patient had an anaphylactic reaction. What about applying glutathione to the skin? Well, a study that looked at 30 Filipino women over 10 weeks of applying a 2% glutathione lotion twice a day. This particular study did show a temporary skin lightening effect with topical glutathione. Of all of these studies that we have that I've just gone over, topical and oral glutathione in the studies were not associated with any sort of adverse effects. It was only the IV that had, worrisome consequences. Like I said, IV glutathione is something that's popularized in like med spas, IV clinics, lots of claims made about it. But some serious side effects have arisen in people getting these IV infusions of glutathione, namely problems with thyroid, also kidney problems, serious drug rashes. Some people have developed abdominal pain, and then because of the way they are administered in these med spas, maybe there might be a poor injection technique, and there are cases of people getting like more serious infections from these infusions. So while it's great that we have a few studies, we simply don't have enough. It's at this time remains inconclusive as to what degree this is actually going to be beneficial for anyone. Overall, there are many problems with IV glutathione. First of all, just an overall lack of published high-quality studies to demonstrate efficacy. Second of all, there is no established effective dosing. You know, these clinics will claim a certain dose is the best, but that really hasn't been substantiated in clinical trials. How long do you need to take it? It would appear from the study that we do have that you need to get these infusions indefinitely in order to maintain whatever benefit you see from them. And the infusions are not inexpensive. The infusions are not FDA approved or regulated, and the FDA of the Philippines actually cautioned against these. Where does that leave us now? I would say, in my opinion, if you are intrigued by glutathione, I think it's fine to use in a skincare product. And as far as taking a dietary supplement, while the research that we do have doesn't suggest that that is necessarily harmful, you may just be wasting your money due to poor bioavailability. Will applying it to the skin make any difference? Honestly, it's going to boil down to the product overall. This is an ingredient found in cosmetic products, meaning it is not a medication, so there's going to be a lot of heterogeneity out there in terms of different products could or could not be formulated to actually lead to meaningful, effective concentrations to the skin or any sort of clinically meaningful effect that you might appreciate. I mean, we really don't even know what the best dose of topical glutathione is going to be to have any effect on hyperpigmentation or on, just overall skin tone. Topical glutathione does appear to be helpful for improving just the overall appearance of the skin. And in my mind, a theory I have is that maybe some of the benefits that people appreciate from topical glutathione have nothing to do with it acting as an antioxidant and inhibiting melanogenesis, but simply due to the fact that it's a peptide, and peptides applied to the skin can end up actually being pretty hydrating. When you improve water content in skin's outermost layer, skin tone overall appears a lot brighter. And you may note diminishment in the appearance of dark spots just through light scattering. If glutathione does work, how is it working to improve dark spots? Well, again, it's anti-inflammatory, and anything that drives inflammation in the skin, such as sun exposure or exposure to environmental aggressors, certainly can lead to an upregulation in pigment production, worsening hyperpigmentation. But glutathione also can inhibit tyrosinase, the enzyme responsible for producing pigment. What's a good product with glutathione? Well, one that comes to mind that I think is a good product because I have used it myself, is a CosRx product. It is their dual-chambered snail essence with glutathione. Remember I reviewed that, a year ago at this point already? That has the snail mucin, which is very hydrating, helps with elasticity. I mean, I love snail mucin. It also has glutathione, and it has niacinamide. Now, interesting thing, to combine glutathione with niacinamide makes some practical sense because, like I said, glutathione is an antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, but it's a tyrosinase inhibitor. Niacinamide, on the other hand, also an antioxidant, also anti-inflammatory, but niacinamide doesn't inhibit tyrosinase, but rather it stops the spread of those pigment packets to the surrounding cells. So you have two ingredients that may be helpful for hyperpigmentation working in different ways. So together you're likely to get better results than using either ingredient alone. Or that being said, the glutathione in the product may not really be that effective per se for dark spots, and the niacinamide might be doing all the heavy lifting. Niacinamide is good for the moisture barrier, keeping skin hydrated, reducing penetration of things that are irritating that would otherwise aggravate hyperpigmentation. But glutathione, it's a peptide, so it may also be helping with the moisture content in skin's outermost layer, allowing for the enzymes that maintain barrier function to do their thing better. Or I already know, for me personally, that I get good results whenever I use snail mucin because it's very hydrating. And again, hydrating things help with light scattering, just brighten up your skin tone overall. So that may be what's to explain the benefits that I see using that product. And if you'll recall from my review of that, while I really liked it and thought it was good, I didn't see that it offered much above and beyond what the snail mucin essence, which I adore, offered. And that product doesn't have glutathione. So long story short, is glutathione worth the hype? Well, I think it's overhyped for sure. It may have a definite supporting role in a dark spot corrector because, again, it's addressing some of the mechanisms of pigment production. By itself as a skincare ingredient, it may be underwhelming, but when combined with other effective ingredients targeting the pigment pathway, you may get more striking results. The research on oral glutathione for skin lightening is very, very limited. More research is needed to say if that is a worthwhile pursuit, and given what we know about its issues with absorption, again, you may just be wasting your money. And I think people are under the assumption that supplements are like some wholesome category, but they certainly can end up having side effects. Supplements are not regulated like drugs, so there's no telling that what you are getting is actually what they claim the product contains. Some supplements have been found to be contaminated with things, and supplements may contain ingredients that interact with medications you might be taking. So you definitely, have to be conscientious. I would say stay away from the IV glutathione as it stands now, given that people develop pretty serious side effects from that, or can. We don't have an established dose or studies showing that it's actually effective. So for me, it's a no. All right, y'all, that's a wrap up. Let me know in the comments though, have you tried any products with glutathione? What was your experience? All right, guys, that about wraps up today's video with regards to glutathione for the skin. I hope this was informative and answered the questions that you all have. If you enjoyed it, on the end slate is going to be my recent video all about thiamidol. So you're gonna wanna watch that one next, especially if you are at all interested in dark spots, hyperpigmentation. But if you guys enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!